I don't know if you have felt it too, but this June has felt very different to me to how Junes normally feel. June is normally, a summer month full of expansion and the sense that things are moving forward. Yet this June has felt very different, much slower, more quiet, and I feel like there's a theme going on here because I've seen other people commenting on it too. But if you feel like the energy has been a bit weird this June, you're not alone, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people, and perhaps you've felt this too, have been in this kind of liminal space for a really long time, and I include myself in this, where it feels like you have a lot of things are on hold in your life. I've noticed a lot of people are talking about being in this liminal space between the old and the new, and this is something that honestly I feel describes the energy of June quite well. It's almost like I have felt the shift this June, and I don't know if you have felt this too, and I think it's why the energy has been weird. If you've been in this liminal space for a while, perhaps you can feel this shift as well, because I feel like June has been almost like a condensation of the liminal space, which means that if you've been in this liminal space for a while and you can feel that you're coming out of the wilderness, you're coming out of this transitional phase, but you're not quite there. It's almost like June has felt like there's a backward moving energy where a lot of things have come back round. It could have been grief, it could have been people from the past, it could have been old energy coming back around again, either to test you to see if you're really steady in the new or in who you've become, right? Or to be released and purged for the last time. And that is very much how I have felt this June. There's just been old waves of grief coming up, and then I actually got ill as well, which is very unlike me because I never get ill now. And I think that there was this kind of purging going on where it almost feels like the last purge, the last release, the last remnants of the old chapter before we really head into the new, because I can feel the energy is shifting and the new is just beyond. It's really just beyond, and it almost feels like June has been a kind of portal month of this is it's like we expect to go from this, steadily moving towards the new. And June has been like pulling us backwards in a sense to really shed, re-release, and get ready for the new, to get ready. So if June has felt slow to you, even painful, or just not what you expected, then you are not alone, because this is a theme I've seen with other people as well. So there's a collective energy here that is making itself felt. And interestingly, the weather has also reflected this here in Europe, at least here in Northern Europe, in large parts of Europe. And I've seen this, here in Scandinavia, in the UK, also in Spain, and a lot of places I've been paying attention to. I can see that the temperatures have been a lot lower than usual for this time of year. There's been more rain, and it's just felt like summer hasn't quite gotten there yet, how it normally is in June. So the weather has also had this kind of delayed energy to it, which mimics the kind of overall general collective energy feel of June. So I think there's been a lot of shedding, a lot of releasing, and now there's been a shift that's happened where almost there's a sense of, I'm done with this now. I'm done grieving. I'm done looking backwards over my shoulders towards the past. The past has come back around almost to be giving us a dose that is too much. When you've had enough of something, if it comes back around again, almost to make you feel like this is enough now. This is too much now. It's almost like when you eat something that's really delicious and after a while you just can't eat any more of it. And after a while you just go, I've had enough of this now. I can't take any more. That's the sense that I'm getting in June. And I think that's the purpose of this old energy coming back around, to almost satiate us to the point where we're going, I've had enough of this. This is over. I'm done. I'm done looking towards the past. I'm done grieving. I'm done living in this liminal space. And of course, this brings me to my next point, which is timing, because I think that there's a really important point here to be made about timing, because delay can only ever come from two sources. And I talk a lot about timing and discernment, as you may know, but when it comes to timing, I think that we, as human beings, we do not have an understanding of timing. We always want to live in the harvest season. We glorify the harvest season of life. And we think that if we just do the right actions, have the right mindset, live in the right way, we can constantly be in a harvest season of life. And that can never be, because that's not how life works. If you look at nature, it's a realistic depiction of how energy works, how seasons work, how timing works. And like I said, if timing is delayed for some reason, there's only ever two sources of that delay. I'm going to tell you what those are. So the first one is divine timing. If something is not yet ripe in divine timing, there is no amount of action, there is no amount of praying and fasting, there is no amount of beingness or any strategy or anything that can shift and move things forward if it is divinely out of time. God depicts times and seasons. So if the thing is, when things are slow, it's often a sign that things are being rearranged behind the scenes, underneath the soil where you cannot see. And if you can understand that, you can be patient during those waiting seasons, liminal space seasons of life, because you understand that when the timing is right and the divine timing is right, it will naturally start to move on its own. There's no effort required on your part, just patience, and it will naturally start flowing again when the time is right. So that's number one, right? Which means there's nothing we can do about those delays, because it just means divine timing it's not divine timing, right? The second reason for delay is self-induced. And that is when we are self-sabotaging, we are, procrastinating, or we haven't developed something within ourselves that means that things will naturally start to move ahead, move forward, building that momentum. So in those cases, it's useful to look within, right? Because in those cases, there is something we can do to shift the energy. And in fact, if we want to speed up movement, if we want to bring momentum in faster, speed up results, one of the things that I believe is the most useful is fasting. Fasting and praying together will speed things up, because you're aligning spiritually. And we have to remember that whenever we want something, it originates from a seed, right? It's the same with everything in life. If you want something, it originates from a seed form. And even though it's not a physical seed, it is a spiritual seed. The words you speak are seeds. So if we want to create something and speed it up, we have to go straight to the seed. We have to go straight to the spiritual seed of what we are planting, quote unquote, in our life. And one way to do that is to go straight to the spirit realm, fasting and praying. And again, I want to mention here, do not get into the trap of trying to manipulate energy, okay? Because that is not something we want to be doing. It's away from God. And that's why fasting and praying is the best way to speed things up and then allow divine timing to take care of the rest. So those are my words of wisdom for you today. If June has felt off and weird to you, you are certainly not alone. And remember that things will start moving in divine timing. I really believe that. And the one thing we can control is the seed and the attitude with which we show up to whatever is happening around us. So get ready for the new, because I really sense it's just beyond. And I'm excited to see what that's going to be, what the fruit we're going to bring forth in this next new season in our lives. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to not miss out on future videos. I'm Hege, sharing spiritual insight, poetry, music, and lived reflections to help us see more clearly and to live more truthfully together. Till next time.